let's talk about how everything becomes interesting when you become conscious. People are genuinely interesting to you. When I was younger and people said, "Oh, I'm so fascinated with people, I'm so interested in people," it used to kind of piss me off because I'm like, really? Are you genuinely interested in others? Seriously? I suppose I wasn't. But now I'm like, no, I'm going to remove my cynicism. I'm going to remove my ego. I get that. I really get that. Because those people, if that person was saying, I'm so interested in people, they're actually, from my perspective, channeling something very pure. They're channeling a genuine interest in reality. An aspect of reality, in their experience, is a person. And maybe they're like hearing or feeling or listening to things that the person is sharing with them. And they're like kind of, wow, interesting. If you want like a really high level interpretation of this, I would say God has taken a fascination with itself. God becomes fascinated with itself. But when you've got a big fat ego in your way, you can't appreciate someone else. You're too self-serving. You're too concerned and selfish, basically. So, now what I realize is interesting. That person who is interested in other people, that was actually part of my shadow. I could see it. Now, though, it's very different. It's a bit ironic, really, because what I do for a living is I listen to people. I do take an interest in people. I'm curious about people professionally. It's what a coach does. But, when I was younger, I guess I was just really self-serving. So what else do we have on this list? Reality sparkles with divinity. In other words, it becomes high definition. So you can see a lot, right? It's like, imagine if, most of your life you've kind of had kind of blurry, fuzzy vision. Wow. Now you can see crystal clear. Everything is so beautiful. It's so pure and so enjoyable. Like if you have this, it does feel quite dreamy as well, actually, I'd say. You finally have real curiosity about existence. I remember a couple of years ago listening to some spiritual teachers, and they were saying, when you're awake and when you're conscious, you'll feel like a child. You'll feel liberated, liberation. And I got that, but I was always a little bit frustrated because I wasn't experiencing it right away. But as I kept moving forward on the spiritual path, and I say forward, I mean, really, it does this, doesn't it? But as I kept moving in a direction which was generally forward, I noticed, actually, no, I am more curious about reality, because again, to begin with, your motives for spirituality will be relatively selfish. You'll want to just get it. You'll want to just be awake. You'll just want to be enlightened. Yeah, of course. But then you mature because you carry on. You give yourself experiences, right? This is the absolute key, okay? So without direct experiences of higher consciousness, you don't got squat. You don't got nothing, man, because this might change you forever. It did for me, but you've got to do some work, of course, to make sure, you integrate it. But when you have this, it's like, whoa, I can really see things. And seeing this is so profound. You don't just forget about it. You're forever like, whoa, what was that? I want that again. Like, what happened there? Why did that happen? How did that happen? Oh my God. You get this kind of interest and curiosity. And it's very genuine, again, because of the opening within your consciousness. Now, when you find yourself conscious again, now in your everyday life, you will find that this curiosity comes back and it feels good. It feels like you're interested in the most interesting thing of all, reality. You become interesting to yourself. So, for a long time, again, I'll be honest, I was doing personal development work and spiritual work for selfish reasons, to build up myself, to be nice and strong, to be secure, to be confident, to get enlightened, and so on. But then, when you become conscious, naturally you become more intuitive. You become a bit more open and curious. You become interested in stuff. And really not just stuff, you become interested in reality, as we said earlier. So what you start to do is you say, whoa, I've got the whole universe right here. Let me feel some emotions. Let me have some incredible thoughts and contemplations. Let me use this physical body. Whoa, So in other words, you become deeply fascinated with your own self, with your own relative existence. And there's so much to you as well. I don't know if you've noticed, but you've got the whole domain of your body. You can just explore the body, whether it be sexually, whether it be physically through movement, dance, exercise. I mean, personally, that's how I do it. I like to work out. I like to feel like a badass spiritual warrior every time I work out. That's my personal way to, use my body and explore it. If not your body, another aspect of yourself. And you can just endlessly explore yourself and become curious about yourself. And again, you'll know this, in the kind of society that we're in, this stuff isn't talked about. This stuff isn't promoted. This stuff is just categorized over there as some, spiritual stuff, some boring, unhelpful spiritual stuff. You know why? Because the stuff that we're talking about here isn't directly supporting or benefiting your survival, right? The survival of your ego. No, it's in a different domain. It's exploring spirituality. It's exploring something more profound and complex. And so, therefore, this stuff, it goes right over people's heads. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a judgment, For example, when I wasn't interested in this stuff as much when I was younger, yeah, of course it went over my head because I was interested in getting laid and having sex and having, relationships and stuff. You've got to understand that it comes naturally. It also happens when you make the commitment. So if you're not spiritually committed, if you're just, like a spiritual flip-flop, like one day you're super spiritual, well, actually, you know what, I'm calling BS on that. Because if you were genuinely spiritual, you would have developed some integrity. You would have looked within and seen, whoa, I've got loads of stuff I need to work on. Let me be truly spiritual, right? I know people use that word a lot, but I think you know what I mean by that. It's really synonymous with conscious. And what is a conscious person? A conscious person is someone who's aware, self-aware, and they can see and be aware of themselves and reality. But anyway, the broader point here is that you start to dig this thing that you are. You really are just fascinated with it. And again, I'll speak from personal experience. You never thought you'd be this interested in yourself. Obviously, we don't mean that in an egoic way. We mean it in I just never thought I'd be able to just sit and just look at my body or just sit and introspect and actually gain satisfaction from that. When I was younger, I always used to think, oh no, I'm going to at least be doing something that, gets me laid, gets me money or so on. But when you do commit to this path and you fall in love with it, you get subtle joys, you get subtle pleasures. One of those is just enjoying existence, becoming interested in yourself, becoming interested in reality. That is where you want to be. And that is how you make your life fulfilling and enjoyable. So if there's something you can take from this, begin to see that the entire vibe of this video is completely different to anything else you're going to take in, because it's uniquely conscious. It's happening on a different sort of plane. And I don't mean that like I'm some lofty fucking guy. I just mean the communication and the stuff that I've shared has come from a more conscious place because I've thought about this. In other words, it's come from this deeper source of experience. It's come from a place that has taken time to, it's taken me time to discover this and be like, whoa, by the way, this is really worthwhile. So we're going to wrap things up there. The final thing I shall say today is, if you haven't had an experience where reality sparkles or gleams or whatever, and you're like, I kind of want that childlike experience of wonder and fascination. I kind of want to be more interested in everything. If you want that, then invest in your level of consciousness. That's the thing to do. If you want to learn how to do that, specifically with direct instruction and guidance and support, I do offer coaching and mentoring. If you're interested, my friend, you can check out the link in the description. You can see my website there. If not, man, you can keep watching these videos and you can keep, picking up the breadcrumbs and connecting the dots. But really make sure that you're investing in your own spirituality. That is what I would say. Okay, cool. We'll end things there. My friend, take care. Lots of love. And as always, peace.